Hey there, I am going to go over the graphing worksheet for lesson 1.05 so that you understand exactly what it is you need to do because it can be rather confusing. When you get to the last page of the lesson, you're going to see that shaded green box that tells you where your assignment is, and right here it has the worksheet. So you can click on this to open up the worksheet and then scroll down to the bottom. You can either open that file on your computer to type on it, or you can print it off and handwrite your answers. Either way is fine. I've also offered you a Google Doc. I always do my best to make sure that there's a Google Doc available to you to use as well. So if you come here, you can choose to make a copy of this document, and it is exactly the same as the worksheet in the lesson. I'm also going to go back because I want to also share with you the rubric. If you want to know what's expected or how your work is being graded, this rubric is exactly what I use to give you the points. So if you're wanting more points, you can refer to this rubric. I look to make sure that you have a hypothesis statement. Is your hypothesis statement meeting a skilled scientist level, a developing scientist, or a novice scientist? Now, there's nothing wrong with being at the novice or developing levels. It just tells you that there's more work that you can work towards to become that skilled scientist. And it describes exactly what you need to do. I'll be looking at your data section and awarding points based on if your work fits the novice scientist level, developing, or skilled, and same for the sections for speed, calculation, and your analysis. So make sure you check this rubric and you know exactly how to complete your lab. All right. This activity is going to allow you to put your speed to the test and analyze the results. You are going to calculate and compare your speed when performing tasks listed below. You're going to hop, you're going to walk backwards, you're going to walk at a regular pace, and you're going to speed walk without jogging or running. So walk as fast as you can, but do not jog or run. For the hypothesis, you need to create a statement that says which task and distance you think you're going to perform fastest. So we're going to take a look at that data box below here in just a minute. You need to pick which one of these, at what distance, which task, and at which distance you think you will be the fastest. To do this lab, you're going to need a timer. Cell phone timers work great. A meter stick or a tape measure. You can print a ruler right here if you'd like to use that. If you don't have a meter stick, I know many homes don't, you can change the data box below to represent feet instead of meters. You're going to need some masking tape, sticky notes, paper, toilet paper, something that can be marked at the beginning of your track, the middle of your track, and the end of your track. You're going to need a marker to put where you ended. And then you're going to need either graph paper to report your results, or you can use the Create a Graph website to graph your results. All right, here's the procedure. First, you're going to make a prediction and write your hypothesis. Second, you're going to find a spot in your home and measure off a 10-meter track. Now, 10 meters is about the same as 32 feet. And if you don't have space in your house to do that, you can find space outside and measure off 32 feet. You're going to mark the beginning of your track, which would be at 0, the middle, which would either be 5 meters or 16 feet, and the end, which would be either 10 meters or 32 feet. So you're going to have a little Post-it note or a little piece of tape at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Then you're going to perform the following tasks for each distance. You're going to go 5 meters, you're going to go 10 meters, or if you're in feet, you're going to go 16 feet to that first marker, and then you're going to do the activity again, going to 32 feet. You're going to do the hopping, walking backwards, walking at a regular pace, and speed walking without breaking into that jog or run. Each time you do, you're going to record the time in seconds it takes you to perform that activity and put it in the chart below. Once you've timed yourself for everything, you're going to come back and calculate the speed by dividing the distance by the time. I'm going to show you how to do that right here. All right, so here's the box. this is your data box. For hopping, the zeros are always filled in for you because it's not going to take you any time to travel no distance and you aren't using any speed. But if you have used feet, you're going to want to replace the meter with 16 feet, and you're going to want to replace the full one with 32 feet. If you're using meters, it's fine the way it is. So you're going to go ahead and have somebody time you as you hop 16 feet. How long did it take you? How many seconds? Then you're going to go back to the beginning. You're going to hop the entire track, 32 feet. Somebody's going to time you how long that took. Then you're going to walk backwards. Same track, go back to the beginning. You're going to go halfway, either 5 meters or 16 feet. And how many seconds did that take? Then you're going to go back to the beginning, walk backwards the entire track. How many seconds did that take? Go back to the beginning of your track. You're going to walk at a regular pace, measure how much time that took you to get halfway through the track. Go back and measure how many seconds it took to get completely through the track. And finally, speed walking. You're going to go back one more time. You're going to do a speed walk half the track, measure how many seconds that took, go back to the beginning, speed walk the entire track, measure how many seconds that took. Once you've completed all your timing, so there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to do the track 8 times in 4 different ways. Once your times are in seconds, I'm going to just put in some made up times here. Let's do, all right. In order to calculate the speed, up here it said, I think it's here, divide the distance by the time. So the number in the distance column is going to be divided by the time. So if I look at this one, 16 divided by 8 is 2. 2 feet per second. And if I look at this distance, 32 feet divided by time, 16 seconds, that 32 divided by 16 is also 2 feet per second. So my speed for both those tasks was exactly the same. You're going to do those calculations for all of your other trials, dividing distance by time. If you end up with a decimal, you can round it to the closest either whole second or to the closest tenth of a second. Whatever you do, be consistent throughout so that you're always doing that same. If you're rounding to the closest whole number, do that for every single calculation you make. If you're rounding to the closest tenth, do that for every single one. All right, once that box is completely filled, you're going to answer these 4 questions. Make sure you answer them. Which task and distance resulted in the fastest speed? So you're going to look in your speed column here and see, where were you the fastest? Which one? Was it maybe walking at a regular pace for 10 meters? That would be your answer. You're going to create a graph to show your fastest speed using the times for 0, 5, and 10 meters. So let's pretend that this was my fastest speed right here. Walking at a regular pace, 10 meters, I was the fastest. I now need to make a graph that shows all 3 of those points. Remember that the horizontal line is the time in seconds, and the vertical line will be the distance in either meters or feet. Then your third question, which task and distance resulted in the slowest speed? Well, I'm going to look back here in my speed, and where was I the slowest? Let's pretend that this was my slowest. I know it's the same as the one above, but we're going to pretend that this was my slowest. I would record that for number 3. And then number 4 says create a graph to show your slowest speed using the times for 0, 5, and 10 meters or converting it to feet. So if I said this was my slowest, I now need to make a graph for all of the hopping distances and time. Once again, that horizontal part of your graph is going to be the time, and the vertical part of your graph is going to be the distance. That is what you need to complete for this lab. If you have questions and if you're struggling with the graphing, if this tool up here, it's not always the friendliest, this create a graph. If you're struggling, just let me know and I'd be more than happy to help you. Bye guys.